What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Brujo 101. That is freaking what? Warlock 101 for the Spanish impaired. Brujo. And it's not brujex. It's not bruja. It's brujo.
Brujo.
Brujo 101.
And I'm not offended.
You're not offended? That's fantastic. And you're a bruja, so
it's okay.
So there you go.
That's okay.
That who you hear there is my lovely co-host Thanya, aka Ashe. I call you Ashe, and we and Chiki were laughing about that the other day because I said, "Oh, I gotta call Ashe."
Oh, that's funny. Hey, it's okay. Ashe is a good word.
Yeah,
Ashe is a good word.
we literally refer to you as Ashe. Like I think I had you saved for a long time under Ashe in my thing because I knew you from your Instagram. And that's, the only name.
Where you saved me?
Yeah, that's how I saved you. But anyway, how are you doing on this beautiful day? We just had the Resurrection Day a few days ago. I feel blessed AF, like the kids say.
Okay, I don't know. We're doing witchcraft. It's a very big witchcraft weekend.
Oh, really?
Easter, Friday, Good Friday is where you sacrifice things to the prenda.
Oh.
So we did that. And
hey, all right.
Then, had a spiritual mass, like the Mexican version of a seance. And then that's it. No bunnies were harmed.
No bunnies were harmed in the making of this
We don't believe in the
ritual.
bunny, but it's good.
Beautiful. And we have our guest today is Steve Hill.
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
up, Martin.
Steve?
Thank you for inviting me down.
Dude, we just met in person for the first time, but we've known each other because of social media for a while.
Right.
And you, my friend, are a super intriguing person. We've been wanting to connect now for a while. And of course, one thing or another, and then the pandemic happened, and then everything shut the hell down. So I'm really glad that we're finally able to make this connection, dude. You are a super intriguing person, super interesting.
Oh, you're trying to make Satan blush.
And we will get into Satan, obviously, but you and I'm just gonna throw it right out there. You are an atheist, and you're black. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm a malmutation of some kind of a descendant of a slave somewhere that just didn't have it together. He probably
had enough.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Something happened. Something went wrong.
And that was sarcasm on my part, by the way, because look, and here's the thing, I don't mean to throw a blanket statement on the black community, but the Mexican community, the Latino community as a whole, and the black community as a whole are traditionally a very religious people. Extremely, to a fault, almost.
And that's what oppressed people cling to religion because it gives them hope. And everybody needs hope. If we don't have hope, what do we have? What do we have to look forward to? So they gave us religion. As far as my people, it was actually beat into us. So that does something, mentally to a human being. So it's a deep discussion. I don't know. Tell your listeners to buckle up.
When you say beat into you, that's literally, and as a Mexican American, with the conquest of Mexico by the Spaniards, it was beat into us as well. The chingazos were so hard that we still do the sign of the cross before we get on the goddamn freeway.
Yeah.
That's how hard those fucking chingazos
or you
were
go
from
anywhere,
the Spaniards.
Right? The plane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything. You're like, please help me. Please help me.
The superstition goes deep. And to me, it's being superstitious and bordering on mental illness, and that's dangerous. It's really
that's a heavy statement, sir.
Dangerous, but that's fact. That's why
mental illness.
brown-skinned people should be sticking together to pull us out of this shit. Strength in numbers, strength in unity. Found that out when I was a correctional officer at the state prison, in 2 different state prisons, and everybody split up by their ethnic group.
That's by design too, man.
It's by design to kind of keep the prison running better, but then again, it automatically pits inmate against inmate, and a power dynamic structure that somebody's want to be calling the shots.
So then you saw how religion is used in jail too. Like, I can't eat this because I'm Muslim. I can't do this because I'm Jewish. I need to go to prayer time. We're going to pass the kites. I'm going to do this. I have a lot of friends who, my brother's in law enforcement, my best friend's in law enforcement. So religion, or the farce of religion, is used for a lot of things in incarceration.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of good that happens. There's a lot of men that are
I look at you, I'm like,
rehabilitated because of the power of Christ that
Yeah.
they find in jail. There's a lot of dudes that again, and I'm there's so many different dynamics to this, but you've got a lot of like old school. Like The Cross and the Switchblade, for instance, with Eric Estrada. Remember that movie? I don't know if you ever saw, with the story of Nicky Cruz, the
Yes.
gang guy from New York, right? And all of a sudden he finds Jesus and he just becomes this powerful minister, just changing lives all over the world, right? You tend to really, you're really harsh on believers. Is I think a soft way to put it.
Harsh.
And
well, he just said they're crazy. Then mental
yeah,
illness.
mental
So,
illness,
I
yeah.
mean, that's
Now,
not-
I'm like that, or I'm trying to kind of like chill from that because I was really shitting on anybody with faith. I like going hard and like, just you dumb motherfucker, like just like extreme, almost like anger, right? And I think it's because I was a victim to that oppression for so long, and I believed a lot of that crap, and a lot of that indoctrination, to a part where, like, when you're 19 praying for your heart on to go away because you don't want to sin and you got a hot girlfriend, what the fuck is wrong with you? Use that heart on and fuck that hot chick, right? God blessed you with that.
Parenting
Right.
advice from Martin.
And-
Thank you for
so-
coming.
and so I think I was really harsh on it. Now I think I've softened my stance in a way where I think there's a lot of people that are taking advantage of that of religion and using it for their to basically come up on shit, right? And there are some people that are so low and desperate and in need of something that really are out there, and they really, in their heart of hearts, they're doing it for the good. It's not like they're trying to exploit something. They're doing it for the good, and it's out of innocence and ignorance that they're sucked into it.
Yeah, and I try myself not to speak in generalizations. Painting one entire group with this broad statement.
Sure.
I always try to make a disclaimer, even on stage when I'm telling jokes, that of course I'm not talking about every white person being racist. I'm not talking about every Hispanic household having 135 occupants. No. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that today. I don't live my life like that. So yeah, it goes back to hope, man. It goes back to hope. Everybody needs hope. I never did a cell search while working California Department of Corrections that I didn't see a Bible or the Quran in a black man's cell. Everybody goes back, you're in prison, you got a Bible. There's hope. There's hope that I get out one day. Stuff like that. It's, So yeah, a lot of people are tricked into needing hope. That's what happens when you beat them over the head with your religion, and they're poor, and they're
The meek will
helpless.
inherit the earth.
Yeah. So yeah, I say all that to say that, listen, all of these preachers are not the same. Some of them will really rip you a new one. And I'm glad to see that in religion, because somebody has to say something about the inequities, the unfairness in our society. So I don't even say all pastors, because I used to talk shit. I go to these conferences and I talk about the black pastors but some of them are doing good. So I can't complain about that.
Yeah, and I think I've come to that place as well, where I'm trying to be more understanding and tolerant, and not as angry,
Right.
and judgmental, because I found myself in that place, and that's not a good place to be either,
Right.
for me anyway. But I was there, And now I'm trying to be more compassionate, you know. And I realize that there's some people that you're just not gonna reach. They're gonna have to just come to an understanding and a realization on their own, you know. And this is an indoctrination that happens at birth, you know. Mexicans, you know, were told that if you don't go get that holy water on your forehead and get baptized, then you won't go to heaven. God's not going to, this little kid born with original sin, he's just going to be in purgatory flying around for forever and ever, and you're not going to be able to see him in the afterlife. So get your fucking shekels together and come to the church, because we're doing a baptism the last freaking Sunday of the month. You know, my mom's from a small town in Sonora, Mexico, called La Misa, right? The Mass is the name of the town. My mom has Alzheimer's, and every once in a while I'll start asking her shit, you know? And I'm like, hey, there's a church in La Misa, right? And she'll remember things. She won't remember the conversation that we're having, but she'll remember events and things. And she says, yeah, there's a church. And I go, but there's no priest there. And she goes, no, but the priest would come in from Guaymas, which is the big city. Big
I
city,
love Guaymas.
which is the city, you know, that's closest to that town, right? To that one horse town. And for either weddings or baptisms or confirmations. And I go, now, but you guys would go on Sunday regardless. And she goes, yes, we'd go and we'd pray however we could. Like
without somebody leading
without
them.
somebody leading
Wow.
them. Now, this is extreme.
Well, they were off the chain, weren't they?
They were
You know what I'm
just going
saying?
for whatever they knew, right?
Dude, that is some serious
Yeah,
obedience,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
to this thing,
Wow,
which
that's
is
amazing.
I didn't know that, and when she said that to me, it was a very powerful moment, because my mom was one of those people that was indoctrinated with the faith from her mother, from her grandmother, and we're talking. My mom was born in 1931.
Wow.
It's a long time ago, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, this is before the fucking Nazis, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, the information that was out there was, this is when you would still get killed for disobeying and dishonoring your parents, you know? And there's parents that are pieces of shit. But according to the scripture, if your parents are crackhead, you should still honor them fucks. So again, and I'm trying not to be judgmental.
I missed that.
Yeah,
I missed
yeah.
that.
You're just
I missed that
spouting
scripture
with
in the
with
Bible.
compassion all over the place right
Right?
now.
He's like, these fucks.
Yeah,
and
these fucking parents ain't worth a
Okay.
fuck.
Changed.
I'm like, okay, it makes us
No, but
makes,
you see what I'm
Satan feel a
saying
lot
here?
better.
Do you see what I'm saying though? Like, you know, that honoring your parents was such a, like, one of the biggest sins one of the biggest offenses. If you dishonored your parents or disobeyed, that was, you know, punishable by death even, you know. You would be judged harshly for that, you know. So anyway, my mom grew up with those things where, like, whatever her mother said
Was the rule.
was the gospel truth. And if that lady said there's a dude up there watching every move you make and you better be good, because he sees and he's writing it down and he's taking notes like Google,
That's Santa Claus.
you know. Hey,
I got it. When you hear me do that joke, you'll remember this conversation right here, I'm sure. But yeah, I got a joke that touches on Santa and Jesus. I won't do it here, but
I'm like,
yeah, I know. I saw the
I was
on
like,
ramps
what
come down.
happened here? So you're atheist. So my husband is agnostic.
Actually, to be, and I'm not rude. I don't want to interrupt you, but
You did, but it's okay.
I know. But listen, what were you saying?
Are you atheist?
Yes, I consider myself an atheist. Proud to call myself an atheist, but to be more specific, I am a satanic humanist.
Okay, so explain this to me. Because
Well-
my husband, I used to tell people my husband was atheist, but then I had somebody break down atheist to me, and I'm like, he sounds more agnostic than atheist.
Well, atheism is just not believing in a God or a deity.
Nothing,
That's-
right?
That's it. That
And-
pretty much covers it. A God or any other deity that someone worships.
can I right before you explain Satan humanist, if there is no theist, if there's no God, then the figure of Satan is that not your
Moot.
okay.
There's no God. He fell. He was
So
basically
there is no Satan.
kicked out.
So what is there a Satan?
No, there is
Because that's important.
there is no Satan. But
It's important to clarify that, and I'm sorry for interrupting you. I just want to get this up before I lose my frame of thought, and I wrote it down, but I'm still going to lose it, my train of thought. Because when people say atheist, immediately there's this default button from a big part of society to say, oh, you're a devil worshiper. You must kill babies. You must sacrifice this. You must do this. You must
You
be
are
evil.
a horrible
you are a
human
horrible
being.
human being. And I think that that's important to address when you immediately when you say Satan. There's people that cringed out there,
course.
you know. And so please explain what a
Satan humanist.
a
you said, right?
Satan humanist,
satanic hu-
satanic,
well,
Satanic
humanist.
humanist.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Okay. Well, I basically found my religion when I met Lucian Greaves at a conference in St. Louis, and him and another mutual friend, I was kind of converted. I just loved the idea, the concept of fighting them with their own bullshit. And now the Satanic Temple is actually noted as a church with all the
Oh, you're actually a church now. Or they're actually a church now.
they're actually a religion,
Oh, a religion. Okay.
and they get all pay no tax exempt
Yeah,
status,
they get all the
of that
taxes,
pimp
all
shit
that
that
stuff.
goes along with the
All
church.
that pimp shit.
For real. That's
Yeah.
that's like the mecca of no taxes.
Oh, listen, the
you're under an
Kardashians have a church.
umbrella. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The Kardashians have a church.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do,
Yeah.
dear.
No, they
Yeah.
Look it up, homie.
Do
Yeah.
they really?
Yes.
Wow. That's crazy.
And not only do they have a church, she just became a billionaire.
Yeah.
Well, aren't they all billionaires?
Well, I think individually a couple of them are, but she just crossed that billionaire
That's
status.
crazy.
Yeah, with all her investments. But anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off. So you met Lucian,
Yeah.
and we'll get into who Lucian is in a minute. But you said
Okay.
that he,
Him and a mutual friend
Mm-hmm.
convinced me that I should hand my life over to Satan
That's hilarious.
because I I'm a political guy. I'm a political junkie from
Yes. I'm telling you,
from
you're
the
an
early
interesting
70s,
person.
from the Nixon, impeachment and the trials and Ollie North, and long-time political junkie. So I've been into politics, and I know how politics work. I know how politics don't work. These people who always want to be the protectors of our future, but they can never handle shit right now. And that's why I started running for office and da-da-da. And 2016, believe it or not, my name was on the fucking ballot with Donald J. Trump.
Fantastic.
That's fucking nuts. I'll can't take away history. It'll never change. And people, that guy was a
Now you ran for Senate, correct?
Yeah, 21st Senate District.
21st Senate District.
Yeah.
That's out there by where you're.
Palmdale, Lancaster, part of Santa Clarita, Valencia area, part of San Bernardino, part of Victorville.
Okay.
It's really, they're doing redistricting now, so I hope they come up with something, because we got really a conservative part, and then we got really liberal parts that have no money.
Yeah, because
So
like
you
Santa
have no money,
Clarita,
no
there's
power.
like-
Santa
and then
Clarita,
you're- yeah.
and I think the demographics down there, it's like 97% white people or 87, one of those numbers, but let's just call it 90% white.
Uh-huh.
So, and I think a lot of those people work in the studios and they commute to Hollywood down in the valley.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Simi Valley. It's like, to them, it's like paradise. This is their heaven. But yeah, that run was good. I got about 12% of the vote.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's
That's a lot more than I would have pegged you for, to be honest with you.
Well, that's
yeah. Well,
we were talking earlier.
That's
that
a
would be
lot more
considered.
than I would have thought.
Think about how close some of these elections
Yeah.
have been.
And I ran as a
in recent
Satanist.
times.
So you were the breaker. Whoever voted for you, you moved it towards whoever won.
yeah.
You did, because you're
Probably,
the breaker. You're the tiebreaker.
probably so.
That's like UCLA.
But we had-
Yeah.
Because of them, that's why freaking Baylor won, because they wore the fuck out of Gonzaga.
Boy, they did. And you know, my wife is a UCLA alumni, and
Oh, yeah?
that shot, we were watching it in the RV
That was brutal.
driving back. That
Brutal.
shot heard around the
Oh, dude.
Heard around
One of the
Westwood.
greatest fucking games in the history of basketball, I think. Fantastic fucking game.
Yeah,
But
that's-
anyway,
that- yeah,
I
that's-
think that UCLA should have been credited with an assist
yeah.
to Baylor, to be honest.
Oh,
Well, he was like the assist to whoever won.
Correct.
Because
That's
you
why
were,
I made
you
that
were-
analogy.
you
yeah,
were
that's
the-
yeah,
You
yeah.
were the
And
wild card. You
yeah,
were the
I was
wild
gonna
card.
rephrase it another way, because if I was a coach on the sideline, like, first thing you do, stop the ball. Stop
Yes.
the ball.
Yes.
You gotta anticipate where the next pass is gonna go to, and somebody run to that man. Got to stop the ball from coming to the court. What did they have on the clock? What did they have? 3.5.
Something like that.
Man,
3
I
point
wish
something.
I wish I watched sports when you guys talk like this.
And they had gotten lucky when they didn't foul the other dude who made this. So that luck can't strike twice. You know, the first time they didn't foul the guy, and they went to overtime. And now this time they didn't stop the. Anyway,
I'm gonna
you can-
YouTube this
listen,
shit,
we're,
'cause I-
we're,
you guys are
we're-
talking
you know, it's like, you know, armchair quarterback.
Right.
You know, like, the
20
reason we're not
20
coaching.
hindsight.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. But anyway,
But
so,
anyways, I met, and I was like, okay, let's go. And it's like, we got a chapter in LA yet? I can go back and help get it. And they already had the nucleus of, you know, a couple of people who had started the chapter, and got a chapter, got it going, had a lot of big events.
No, I'm sorry.
Trash.
Is the chapter by you? So you started your own chapter like in Palmdale, or just like an LA?
LA.
Chapter?
It was for then. It was LA.
Satanic
Satanic Temple, Los Angeles chapter. And you know, it's going good for a while, but just like a lot of these organizations, you get people in, and they don't have the mission statement really clearly defined in their head. It's like, it's not about you. It's about, you know,
a movement.
recruiting people, starting a movement, you know, and showing people that there's another perspective on this religion stuff. And that's about it. Been in and out. You know, I was co-chapter head before the whole thing kind of dissolved, but now there's a whole entire Southern California chapter. And hopefully Lucian will be coming out in a couple of months. And we'll have him here in the studio so Martin can pick his brain.
So I thought so
dude.
Martin could join. I was like, he's in already.
Listen,
It's
you know,
okay.
so let me just throw this out there, because a lot of people are probably like, what are they talking about? Who is Lucian? Now, Lucian started the Satanic Temple, the movement with the Satanic Temple, the religion of the Satanic Temple. There's a great documentary, and I think it's on Hulu still. I could be mistaken.
on Hulu, 'cause
It
I
is
just
on
watched
Hulu?
it.
Okay, and it's
good.
called Hail Satan, which immediately scares the shit out of people. You know, I went and actually watched it in the theater. I watched it in the
okay.
theater in the Village in Westwood. We went, and there was maybe 40 people in that theater. And when I say that people were like afraid and like, what the fuck is going on here,
Really?
is an understatement. Yes, yes.
Wow.
It's called Hail Satan. Like, when I tell people you got to watch Hail Satan, they're like, oh, wait, whoa, hold on, bro. And it's like Hail Satan is really a scary phrase to a lot of people, because they give value to Satan, and they think that these people are literally worshiping Satan.
And then me watching it, it's gonna like somehow come through the screen and infect me.
Correct.
It's going to
With-
suck your soul right out your body.
Totally didn't happen.
You're defiling your soul, Thanya. And so I went and watched it, and when I watched it, I was so moved by it. I've watched it 3 times now, and I've watched it and I've compared it to a documentary called Jesus Camp.
I've seen that one too.
Okay, so when you watch those side by side, I don't know if you've ever seen Jesus Camp, but
I've seen it.
you've seen it. Okay.
That's the evangelical kids, right?
Yes.
Okay.
When you see who's doing more
Yeah,
damage,
they got everything but weapons.
is it Jesus Camp, or is it the Satanic Temple? Who are the good guys? And on the surface, you would think Jesus Camp is where I want to send my kids. But when you really analyze what's really going on, and I might get some hate for this and shit, but the good guys are the Satanic Temple. I'm going to go on the record to say that right now, in my opinion.
Well, I want to tell you that, okay, so you're in it, right? And then Martin's all open to it. So then Martin and I were talking. He's like, watch this documentary. So I did. And I watched it with my agnostic husband, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, what do you think? And I was like, these people are super intelligent. First of all, I think they're very intelligent. Sign me up, because these people, I don't see it as a religion. I see it like a code of ethics, right? So because what they're doing is very ethical. Like I, of course, I'm a bruja, but I'm a santera. I'm a santeria practitioner, right? Mm-hmm. And my faith is very strong. It's not going to change. I'm going to die a santera.
Right.
But the ethics that the documentary shows, I was like, look, you shouldn't be able to put church and state together. That's what it basically comes down to.
And they fight it in court in a legal manner using the system.
And even some people won't know, but like I have a lot of godchildren we're talking about single moms, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll go to court, and the first thing the guy throws out is, she's a witch. She practices santeria. She did it.
Wow.
It was done to me.
Wow.
And I was like, and luckily I had a judge who was super cool, and she was like, who cares? Like, I don't care what she does at home. Who cares about this?
This bitch has rocks in her pocket.
Right? I was like, you don't even know. I'm walking in going, but so like, I thought it was really interesting. And I thought that the point of it, like I thought it was so intelligent. And then as it goes on, I was like, of course there's crazy people in this, because it's like any religion. It branches off and then it gets kind of crazy.
And again, when it first started, a lot of the mission statement was undefined and not clear. So that's where you start getting the craziness.
I also want to say, without sounding mean, I think that Lucian, right?
Yes.
I have somebody who named their kid Lucian. That's funny.
I think he named himself that.
He named. I have a friend who named her kid Lucian, but I think his look works very well for the situation, because people are so. It's the truth.
Yeah, like, you think that?
Of course this is him. Of course.
I'm trying to be a much more compassionate person than you today.
Well, I'm just being honest.
No.
Of course, this is the. That's like if I came here with a broomstick and a fucking cat. And,
right. Right.
So I was
like if I showed up with like a half-eaten dead baby or something.
Right, there you go.
And some horns.
And some horns.
I think he wears horns in the documentary. Just like, but I think that people who are so indoctrinated into religion will see him wearing those horns from the party supply store and be like, he's the devil. And I was like, that shit is hilarious. Like, we have a set of horns in my house that my mom wears. So, as a joke, like, this is so funny. Right. Because it's not. No, there's no devil with the horns and what the fuck is that?
Right.
But him coming out with that, I was like, and then I told my husband, this is funny to me. And he thought it was really smart too. He's like, this is great. I go, but the people who are religious, this guy is the devil. This guy is walking out and he's got people with hoodies from the costume shop, and he's got,
because that's to the extent that their mind has been conditioned.
Even to the extent of the girl who gets ousted from in the documentary, all her stuff was, I I have a liberal arts degree. It was just an art exhibition. That's all it was. That she wasn't doing anything. She was doing art. But of course they see the pigs. She said, kill Donald Trump, whatever. A million people in this world have said kill Donald Trump.
Yeah. A lot of people have uttered those.
But she said it while being part of the Satanic Temple,
right. Yeah. You got to really, really, really be careful when, you got to stick to more like platitudes because they have a really strict, that's why I support them, but I do it. I don't really call myself a member, although, I think I'm pretty entrenched in being a member of the Satanic Temple, but yeah. So, organizations like that, you really have to be careful about what you say.
When I saw it again, and I saw what they were doing when they went to Oklahoma and challenged, I think it was Oklahoma. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because they had
Ten Commandments.
They had the 10 Commandments on federal property, right? and it's like, wait a minute, you know. And then when you start looking at the history of the Ten Commandments, when that movie came out was what, the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And that's when we were entrenched.
With Charlton Heston.
Charleston Heston?
Correct. But when you think about this, that was when we were entrenched in the Cold War with the godless Russians, and we wanted to. That's when we threw in
communist scare.
That's when we threw in one nation under God on the Pledge of Allegiance,
right.
which people don't realize. You know, we decided to separate ourselves from them as we are the God-fearing country. We're the
you know, the one over here with all these slaves. Get behind us. Get behind us.
We're the good ones. We just don't like Spics, Mexicans, blacks, Asians. Well, we're the good ones.
But we, you know, listen, it's in the Bible, guys. And so, and so what happened was they made this movie, and they were giving out 10 Commandments as promotion for the movie.
How smart is that, though?
All across the fucking country, you know, and people don't realize it. So we're giving it out all across the country. And we became, for all intents and purposes, a God-fearing country. And that's when it was solidified into the fabric of our society. Our forefathers, they were a bunch of hoes. Our forefathers, there's a great book by Larry Flint and a professor from Columbia University. His name escapes me, but it's called One Nation Under Sex. And it is brilliantly done, and it really shows the hypocrisy of our politics, right? And also how it's been manipulated through extortion. And if you don't fucking do a thing, I'm outing you as a homosexual. I'm outing you as a cheater. I'm outing. So we've been legislating by fear of our representatives have been legislating an agenda based on fear of their sex secrets being exposed. And what Larry Flint was saying, we've got plenty of security threats coming our way right now that we should not give a fuck who these people are fucking and how they're fucking. If dudes are fucking each other, let it be. If chicks are fucking each other, or they're fucking having threesomes and foursomes, who gives a fuck? We got bigger fish to fry than putting these people under this microscope and expecting that they should do missionary position and then pray afterwards. You know, like let's stop it with that. And so, but again. How did I get there? What the
they
fuck
were putting the 10 Commandments in Oklahoma. They had them.
Yeah, so we became this God. They went to the Satanic Temples like, wait a minute, you cannot do this on federal property, because if you do this, that means that other religions have to be represented as well. And which then means that they created that statue of Baphomet.
The Baphomet.
Baphomet.
Yeah,
Was it Baphomet or Baphomet? I thought the E was silent. The T
Fucking
was silent.
tomato. Who gives a fuck?
The guy with the horns.
Yeah, right. And so, and
but
they
even
said,
in that, they were super intelligent, because there's a white kid and there's a black kid.
Yeah.
It's very intelligent.
Yeah, I used to kid with.
Where's the Mexican kid? I'm just saying.
I used to kid with Lucian. It's like that kid on his left is my nephew.
Nice, bro.
But yeah, man, we, you know. And another thing that appealed to me with them was just the whole concept of the devil, and everything that's conjured up. All the evil in the world is attributed to Satan and the devil and da-da-da. But people never stop and think, we've never talked to Satan either. We never seen Jesus come back. We never seen none of these mystical, magical motherfuckers. So really,
I need a shirt that says that.
So really, how do we know that Satan is the bad guy?
It's faith.
Fuck that.
So then a lot of people would argue. I'm going to play devil's
advocate.
Right?
Please do.
So then a lot of people would argue, how do you know what love is? You can't see love. You don't really touch love. I'm going to tell you the arguments that people say. How do you know?
You feel love.
They feel the presence of Jesus.
Well, I hope they get tested.
I'm going to tell you right now, I was a teenager in the mid-'80s. And when I was in high school, was right in the middle of the Satanic Panic.
With the heavy metal.
With the heavy metal. And, of course, I was a metalhead. And by default, I was called a devil worshiper. You know, I went to Banning High School in Wilmington, which was half Mexican, half black, right? And they were busing in a lot of dudes from the inner city into Wilmington.
Yeah.
And it was a
Because
big.
Wilmington wasn't the inner city at that time. Well, it's the inner. It's
yeah.
It's
but,
there
but,
now.
But they were coming like from South Central and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And so we had a big African American student body, right? Probably just as much as Mexican, and a lot of the black students would look at me and think that and say, "Oh, you guys worship the devil," and then they do this to me, and I'm like,
funny.
I just nod my head and laugh, whatever. I'm not going to try to argue with anybody, but this was just a small part of what was happening across the country. There was parents turning in their kids. There was people getting arrested. I don't know how versed you are in the Satanic Panic, but
really.
it was a horrible time. It was literally like being a witch back in the day, without the burning, obviously, in the person. I don't want to say, oh well, as heavy metalers, we suffered so much, but there was people that got arrested. There was people that their lives were ruined by this, and the church was really putting this agenda forward. This is at the same time they were saying these guys are sacrificing babies, they're doing this, they're doing that.
And the McMartin preschool got drug into that also.
Yes, sir. And
sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. And so what was really happening is that the church was projecting onto a subculture the atrocities that they were doing. They were the ones fucking with the kids.
Yeah.
They were the ones doing all that shady shit, and all these kids were doing was fucking banging their head and fucking smoking weed,
Right.
And so, but that Satanic Panic defined a generation. Those were devil worship. Richard Ramirez was the guy that's like, well, he listens to AC/DC and Nightcrawler, and that's why he's out there doing.
Heads off of
Ozzy's biting bats, fucking all this shit's going on. And
Kiss,
so what happened is
Yeah.
that they defined what Satanism was. What the Satanic Temple said we're striving to do is not make that same mistake. We're not going to let them define us anymore. We are going to let you know what a Satanist is. And what they're doing is extremely progressive. They're out there fighting for women's rights. They're out there fighting for the separation of church and state. They're all out there fighting for LGBTQ plus rights, which is, I feel, the battle of our generation, is they are representing these minority groups because let's face it, women are still a minority group. The trans community, the gay, lesbian community, and all the other letters that I'm missing are still a minority group, right?
I got jokes on that.
And this organization is out there standing up for the oppressed, which is what, by definition, what a Christian should be doing.
Yeah. Kind of ironic, isn't it?
So I have a question within you being a member, is there, because I feel like it's more of a political party, to be honest with you, than a religion, but that's just I just saw one documentary.
Yeah.
But so is there anything that you guys do that would like ring familiar with anybody who is religious, right? Like Catholics go to mass, whatever.
Well, the Satanic Temple's been known to put on a ritual or two, for the optics of it, for the pageantry.
The Black Mass.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and the in Detroit when they uncovered the Baphomet, that was a big, ceremony, and it was rituals that night.
But this isn't
bloodletting. Actual bloodletting. Imagine an old person, someone who's really religious, and they see blood if they go somewhere coming from a human. Imagine that. I mean, that's enough to scare me. Black people be like, oh yeah, I'm out. I'm done.
I'm the wrong
bleeding,
person to talk to. I'd be like, oh, we're doing this today. But but there's nothing that's like, okay, you get baptized in Catholicism, you get eleques in Santeria, you whatever. There's nothing like that. Like you're a member.
No, if you can't. Yeah, no, you contact the temple. They'll send you a certificate with your name. And there's some others in the little Satanic goodie bag. Paid like, I don't know how much it is now, but
I'm letting you know now that's all I want for my birthday.
You can join.
Really?
I totally just want. I'm gonna write in, and I'm gonna become.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him send me. I want something a little more elaborate. You know, maybe something framed.
Or maybe go to Michael's.
Yeah.
So they CBN, the Christian Broadcast Network. You know, I watch the news to see what the Christians are reporting a lot of times, and because you know
when handle the pulse thermometer.
Well, you know when Donald Trump was in office,
under surveillance.
You would be surprised how many people were laying hands on him and praying for him. The laying on of hands that happens in the church. They were doing this. If Trump had a speech in North Carolina, he'd show up to the church, to the local church there, and wherever he was speaking, the elders of the church would pray for him, anoint him before he went out there and delivered those speeches. Now, that might not sound like much, but that's extremely powerful in so many ways. There's a lot of energy.
The energy of
that. And when he'd go out there, it was very grandiose. And there was people that knew that. Now, if you don't know that, you just think it's just some dude spitting stuff out. But what a big portion of that population is observing is a man anointed by God. And so that's very powerful, and CBN covered all that, and I saw some of it, and I was really blown away by the power of it. They
covered him going to and getting
and you
hands laid on him.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, you see that famous photo when he's in the Oval Office, and all the black pastors
are also laying
hands on him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Donald, you better check for your wallet.
Senator Inhofe.
Oh, you're hilarious. But I do want to tell you that sounds very familiar with Fidel Castro. So Fidel Castro was initiated into the Santeria faith in Nigeria, in Yoruba land, right? Mm-hmm. So people have this idea that when you go back to Africa and get your ceremonies done there, it's way better, right? So
the spirits are way stronger.
Well, of course, Thanya. they can't fly.
Roots.
Yeah.
So he went over there, and then in Cuba, I have a lot of friends whose families were generals, corporals, like who hate Fidel Castro, and they would get so close to like hurting him, to killing him. Next to it, there's a famous, you can look it up. There's a guy who was right in front of him with a gun, ready to kill him. And he says that he got so scared. He couldn't do it. And then he later retracted and said, it's because he had done X and X deity and the power overcame me. Was it that? I'm religious. I highly doubt it. The guy was scared. I
think Donald Trump would call that you choked.
Right. You were but people automatically associate it to religion, right? His power was so great, you couldn't touch him. He had this barrier, so it's like, yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that they did that.
And now you know when I characterize it as a mental illness, now you know. That's it.
So I don't know if I would characterize it as a mental illness personally, but I get what you're saying. I think that any zealot or anybody who gets so engulfed in religion and starts using it as an excuse to be like a shitty human or do things that are not spiritual in the least, definitely that's a mental illness. Like there's people in Hispanics, there's sobadores, there's brujos, there's everybody. And I tell Martin all the time, I get a bunch of people who come to me, girls, who'll be like, yeah, he told me to get naked and we had to have sex so that and they're so... Listen,
jizz is a healer, supposedly. Did you not know this? There's people out there healing with jizz. This is a fact.
It's not a healer. Just letting you know.
Well,
so
ye of little faith.
You know.
You just haven't had the right jizz.
I'm letting you know. Not gonna work.
You got to get the good jizz.
Obviously, I'm not
top shelf.
I'm gonna talk to Jerry. I'm gonna talk to Jerry about that tooth days. Don't do that. So bad. But I get people who come to me, right? And your automatic response is, how stupid. I used to be like, oh my God, how stupid. Mm-hmm. And now I don't. Now I feel so bad.
Yeah.
Because they took, and it's been like that for a few years, they took advantage of your hope. You had this little inkling of hope, and they just totally bamboozled you.
They fucked you.
I mean, luckily, A lot of people
No
in Santeria,
Vaseline.
yeah, a lot of people in Santeria believe in saints and things like that, but we're a little different in my house with Catholic saints. My mom doesn't. She thinks that that's bullshit. Like the slaves had to do something. That's what it was. But Santa Barbara is not Chango. We're not those people. Chango is Chango and Santa Barbara is Santa Barbara. But
Let's make a distinction here.
Yeah, like-
kind of like the Sunnis and Shias.
Yeah,
right?
like what are you know? So luckily she went to Catholic school and has always been like, the nuns are the meanest people. And I had her watching the documentary for a little bit with me, and I was like, and she's 64, 65. I was like, what do you think? And she's like, oh, this guy probably got in a lot of trouble, huh? Because look at him. Now he has, you know, it started with a little bit of people. Now it's growing. She's like, and what he says is correct. Like, why are they putting churches in schools? Why are you putting churches in politics? Why are you using that to make these people go back to like a slave mentality? Like, okay, master, we're all gonna pray here. What the fuck
Right.
is that?
Either you're with us or against us.
Totally.
You know, I want to apologize because when you said mental illness, I thought that was a little harsh, but
Oh, now you're on the bandwagon.
I'm not on the bandwagon, but I'm on board, and I'll tell you why. I just
gaining
remembered
compassion.
Get him a certificate.
I just
With a frame.
remembered a part of the documentary where they're going heads up with the Westboro Baptist Church. And the Westboro Baptist Church is a really hateful organization. They really are hateful. And and very few people have been able to get to them. You know, they always have the upper hand because they're just basically just these I don't know. Anyway, but when these dudes said, "All right, let's approach this from let's fight on their grounds," you know, and when they went to the leader of of the church to his mother's grave site, and they did a satanic ritual where they turned this woman gay in the afterlife, and every time a gay couple would make out on her grave, she would come in the afterlife. Okay, this is how powerful the Satanic Temple is. They have the power to turn dead
Straight
people
people.
gay. Straight dead
people.
people gay. Religious straight dead people gay. And so the freaking church took them to court. I want to say it was Mississippi. And and it literally made it on
Tried
a
to
court
sue them for
docket.
turning
The
ghosts gay, right?
Satanist who turned dead people gay. Now, I'm sorry, that's a win for the Satanic Temple.
Because it's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous, but that's how. Now, again, is that not mental illness?
Well, but then the flip side, so I have to be devil's advocate.
Please.
The other flip side is you got this guy sitting there having people make out over this grave. Isn't that mental illness?
Is it though? If it's a mockery?
But is it a mockery to them? Because
Do you think that they believe?
Yes.
What-
Do you
but there's
think that they
people-
believe?
There's people who will believe.
Ashe.
There's people. I'm not saying me. There's people who will believe. That there's-
those people.
So look, I think that religion is a thing that does attract a lot of people with mental illness. I do think that all religions. And I think that people who think that the Satanic Temple is a religion as opposed to a political party or a movement will think that Lucian standing behind pushing these two people to kiss, which I thought was like so awkward and funny because he's like, you know, but they're going to think he had the power to do that. Are those two guys going to make out anywhere else? Yes. Did they do anything to that dead lady? No.
Are you sure?
I mean, I don't
bet
know
she
her.
came in the afterlife.
I don't know her, but I could we could do a seance and call her and find out if she's like pitching this way or that way. But I think that there's people who will believe he has that power as opposed to it being like, of course this is funny because you're saying that if I am gay, I'm going to go to hell. You have that power. So I'm flipping it and saying, I'm gay. Now she's gay. Now she's going to hell too. But there's people who are going to think that Lucian is like, well, I mean, look at the name, right? He's, you know, that he goes home and his wings come out and his fucking tail comes out. You know, I don't think that happens.
Yeah. And look, I think the image of Satan as we know him is a, what do you call it? They borrowed from the image of Pan, correct? Pan,
I know.
the Roman or Greek, I don't know which one he was in that pantheon, but he had the horns. He was in the woods. He'd play the flute, and he'd seduce all the women. And
He used to like to
fuck 'em.
drink, right?
And
he
he'd
was
fuck
like the
'em.
Pied Piper of
Yes, and then he'd fuck all the
satanic
virgins,
sex.
all the virgins from the town
Of
would
course,
come
they
and
have to
he'd
be
fuck- They
virgins.
have to be
Of course,
virgins.
gotta be
Hey, listen,
pure purity
yes,
here.
You get more goats for being virgin when you get married. Otherwise, otherwise you get.
My poor husband, we got no goats. I already had a kid. We got 0 goats.
No goats for him. You know, hey, we need goats for milk. Come on.
No goats.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So what happens with your family when are they like, oh, this guy's like, because I mean, there has to be religious people in your family.
Yeah,
There
my
has,
mother,
right? Okay. So is she like,
my
oh,
sisters.
are they like, this guy's crazy? Like that's just him.
No, yeah, he's been a little 50% off all his life, 5150.
We'll
There
pray
you
But
for him.
yeah,
We'll pray for him.
But yeah, I mean, they know how I feel about church and how I speak the truth to people who are just gone mentally, from a mental perspective, gone about religion, really believe that there's a heaven and there's a hell and people go to these places. The absurdity of it is something that, I can't really conversate with you on equal footing, both humans, because you're not there all the way. Something up here is blocking rationale, common sense, knowledge, truth, fact, looking at the world as what it is currently. And, people can't see that, and they can't see what's going on. They can't engage from a political perspective. They can't even vote because they don't have it up here
Together.
fully going, So they stay, basically, they live in a world of illusion.
So what happens when you die? You said, I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in hell. What happens?
What happens?
You die.
What
happens?
Well, I think there's this gland that
Secretes.
secretes this like euphoric drug that goes to your. So then shortly after that, it's exactly like it was before you were born. Before you were born, you remember that?
I mean, I'm a bad person to ask these things too.
Martin, you remember before you were born?
Absolutely.
What was your? Oh, you say, what was your biggest worry? But
Nothing,
yeah, that's how death is to
So do
me.
you think
I'm
it's a
gone.
cycle? Do you think it's like a cycle, like a life-death cycle? Like, okay, this person
Yes.
died, this person came. So then do you believe in reincarnation in
No.
that circle? No. You
No.
just believe like you died,
That's
somebody
it.
was born, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, there'll be people to replace me when I'm gone. That's how it works. These humans just keep fucking, and
When you're dead, you're dead.
When
There's
you're
and
dead,
that's. I mean, look.
you're dead. You don't know. You
I-
don't even
but-
know you're dead.
but to
So
be
then- well,
honest-
yeah, I don't think you know you're
To
dead.
be honest, as with our limited capacity in our brain, that's to again, to play devil's advocate myself, that's all we could really prove. You're fucking dead. You're dead.
Okay, so then what about the people? Because there's a documentary
There
on
you
this.
go.
There you go. There's a documentary on people who have these memories of being here before and can tell you very specific things. What about those people?
What do you mean?
Like there's this whole study. This guy like in Cambridge did a study on kids. It's mostly on kids who have come back and said they've reincarnated somebody, and they'll give you specifics.
Okay, I have seen that.
So
yes.
if you don't, let's say, okay, X out reincarnation. So then do you believe in energy, spirits, souls, which is completely separate from the satanic thing, but do you believe in that yourself? No.
no,
No.
no, no.
Do you walk
I
into
believe
a room
this
and
is
say,
it. We're shooting our shot right now.
That means you
If
must,
we were having an orgasm, we'd be like in the middle of it right now. So you shoot your shot when you're alive. You don't do shit when you're dead. I've been to a lot of graveyards. They don't look like they're having no fun.
Well,
that
underground.
means that you must do things very purposefully
very,
because this is your only shot.
very specifically.
Because people will use the excuse of coming back or spirituality as an excuse to change later.
Yeah.
That means you must be purposeful about what you do because this is it.
This is it. After this, show's over.
Nice.
That's it. Got the light.
You got the light.
Fuck off stage.
Um,
Time for other people to come behind you.
I think it's fascinating. I want to, I think the Satanic Temple, I want to throw it out. If you guys get a chance, watch Hail Satan.
It's really good.
It's a fantastic documentary. Just watch it objectively. I'm not trying to change anybody or convert anybody, but watch it before you judge. And
Are you really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Watch it before church. No, just kidding. I don't know.
And so now, not to change the topic, but I do want to get into a little bit of the fact that you've run for office now. How many times?
Actually, 3 times.
3 times.
The first time was as a write-in candidate. Really, seriously, just as a joke, because I thought I was going to get to debate someone, one of the strong, long-held political Republican figures. I thought I would maybe get to debate her, but I, of course, they don't debate you when they have the power.
Sure.
So, and then I ran again in 2016. That's where I got approximately 12% of the vote, and I was in like TMZ and LA Times, and I think Time Magazine. They're online. I had some media, and people would look and go, "What the?" And they would go to my website and just found out that I'm just a big Bernie supporter. So I'm sure that's probably why I got the votes I did.
Now, you did some, obviously some promoting and things like that. I know that when I found out about you, had gone on a particular podcast, and I don't want to get into whose podcast or nothing like that. But I do know that you went on a predominantly black podcast where they were not too, they weren't on board with you being an atheist. They judged you for being an atheist.
Correct.
And
Didn't they
and
know
again,
that
I don't
before
want
you
to,
got
I don't
there?
want to throw anybody under the bus. I don't want to name any names. That's not what I'm.
Oh my God,
what
tell
my
me when we're
intent.
done with this.
No, that's not the intent. My point to it is that just the word atheist has so much power behind it that this particular group of people were like, yo, man, you must, like, what kind of a horrible human are you? You having to defend yourself, or having to just sit there and just be like, do you just tune it out and be like, I'm not going to get through to anybody here? At what point does that just, what goes on in your head when you're listening to people that are judging you for saying that you're an atheist, which is, I think, one of the most horrible things to do, is to say that because you're an atheist, you must be an evil person.
Yeah.
How much of that did you get? I can't imagine that was the only instance of that. And I just want to pick your brain a little bit about that.
Yeah. It's, it's as easily seen coming like a fastball, but in slow motion. It's going to be someone's opinion. And, that's the beauty I see in that Lil Nas X video, just the hypocrisy of people judging, the judgmental. I know somewhere in that prehistoric comic book it tells you not to judge. I know, I've seen it in there. And just for the judging part, the hypocrisy, these people, these Christians are doing all kinds of bullshit. Like on a large scale, like wars and not housing the homeless, not feeding the poor. Concerning themselves with
damn socialist.
Yeah, the commies. Not concerning themselves with women reproductive rights. Bunch of white men trying to tell a woman what to do with her body.
Okay, now let me stop you there. It's not just a bunch of white men. There's a bunch of brown men and a bunch of black men doing the same thing. As far as women's rights go.
Yeah, that's just an inherent part of the system. You get in the political system, you have to be a certain way. That's why my wife told me, "Oh, you make a horrible fucking politician because you're too honest." So yeah, it's a gang, man. People don't understand. They talk about the Bloods, the Crips, and all of these other gangs, Aryan Brotherhood, BGF, Black Guerrilla Family. Politics is nothing but a fucking gang. It's nothing but a gang, and they are the shot callers for everyone else. So people got to start looking at it like that. People got to start looking. Different perspectives.
I want to stay on the politics side, not picking sides or nothing, but in my opinion.
Well, I'm an independent, so
in my opinion, I feel like in order to run for office, you literally have to play the game of being a man or woman of faith, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. Donald Trump did it to a. I think he could write a book on how he expertly manipulated that. I don't. And look, maybe I'm judging. I don't think that he's a man of God.
No. He basically exposed that when he first ran for office. When a reporter or a journalist asked him a question,
his favorite scripture,
he couldn't.
Yeah, he didn't. I like it all. It's all good.
2 Corinthians 2.
Yeah, 2 Corinthians. When he said 2 Corinthians,
the first one was good.
Yeah. And then it's amazing. But
you have to do it. You have to do it. I mean, look,
God bless America.
He did it. And also, Barack did it. Barack had to go to church and pray. The other dude, the dude that's in right now, what the fuck's his name? Biden also came in and said, "I'm a man of faith. My Catholicism, Catholics, and yada yada yada."
Smarter. He got someone of color to be his running mate. Mm-hmm. He was even smart, like
but again, we as a country, are we ready to stop playing the game? Because a lot of these men and women, I don't really believe that they have to play that card. Otherwise, we're not voting for you, you fuck.
Right. First thing they're gonna do is he's questionable. He's suspect already because he's not conforming and loving Jesus like our country, our Christian nation does.
So now that's for you to go out there and run on the platform of being an atheist has got to be groundbreaking in a lot of levels. I don't know how many other people are out there or how many other politicians are out there saying, "I'm a fucking atheist, vote for me." As a country, I don't think we're ready for that. And I thought that we had moved forward. I thought that we had moved past that. But we clearly have not.
Yeah, we're not post-racial either.
Well, I think that people don't know what atheism really is. That's where we go back to that. I don't think you know what an atheist is. I think that when I used to tell people my husband's an atheist, they'd be like, "Oh, and you're a santera, and you did it." I was like, hold up. Like, that's not how it works. Like, I respect him. He respects me. We move, But I don't think people know what an atheist is. But are you going to run again? Are you thinking about running again?
No, my wife just informed me that I will not be running again.
Oh, you're okay. Well,
she pretty much laid it out flat for me. It's like, okay, I won't run again, but I will raise as much hell per se on the people who are running. They're going to go through me or they're not getting elected. Simple as that.
So because that's a statement. The reason I asked is because I feel like now with the whole coronavirus thing starting, I feel like there was this influx of people looking for spirituality and not Catholicism and not traditional. So I was like, maybe you would do better this time because there's so many people, especially people who are like a certain age, where they're like, I don't believe in this. Like, I don't think baby Jesus laid here. I don't think this happened. So I feel like maybe we're not ready, but we're more ready than we have been in the past.
I would like to agree with you, but I don't. I mean, look, we just got out of 4 years of an administration that literally, we had, Donald Trump moving people out of the way to pose with a Bible in front of a church. You had a vice president who was an advocate for conversion therapy, who literally, we told every country on the planet, if we give you aid, you can't even talk to women about abortion or we will cut that fucking aid from your freaking, country.
Stipend.
So we just had a lot. And the fact that the overwhelming majority of his supporters are Bible-thumping Christians. I think we have more than we realized that we had. And I didn't realize just how deep. You've got mega churches in every state where you've got 17,000 people showing up to church on a Sunday. And those people are voting how that pastor tells them to vote, and that's extremely powerful. When you watch Jesus Camp and you see the dude that got caught with the gay prostitute, and he's looking into the camera saying, "See these kids here? We're teaching them that they were created by God, them teaching them that they came from apes. Who do you think? What's the better story? And guess what? They're going to be voting in a few years. Well, all those kids that went to Jesus camp, that got sent to Jesus camp from those mega churches, are all voting age now. And they were there at one of the most impactful times of their life. If you've ever been to camp, it's a very powerful experience. A lot of memories. You do a lot of things in life, but nothing is as impactful as camp. And when you go to a religious experience, a spiritual experience, whatever you want to call it, that's going to stay with you for a very long time. There's people that don't go to church, but they hold on to those beliefs. Whether they go or not, those beliefs are still in there. And those kids are now voting. When people say, oh, how could he win? I tell you how he won, because a lot of those folks were homeschooled, and they don't believe in global warming. They don't believe in evolution, and they believe that Jesus' return is imminent. So who gives a fuck what happens to the planet? When you see what the homeschooling agenda was on these kids, it's fucking tragic. It's freaking sad.
Yeah, their curriculum is scary if you look at it. Because
but that's who's voting now.
Right. And that's why you see politicians of all ilks headed to black churches.
Yes.
As soon as they were headed to black churches. Hillary did it. I mean, they all did. Barack did it. George Bush did it. Everyone, they head to black churches. Like, it's like fucking one-stop shopping. Get to the church, talk to the pastor, talk to your people, tell them who to vote for. And, the pastor gets a nice big donation from the campaign. And it's another form of exploitation. Keeping us ignorant and exploiting us, exploiting our power. And the power is with the people. Don't get me wrong. And we've been at a civil war, a low-grade civil war, ever since 1863.
What do you mean by that?
The Emancipation Proclamation?
No. I'm saying we've
like,
been.
stop.
I'm saying we've been. You say that we're still entrenched in that war.
We are in that. Look at the over-incarceration rate. Look at the disproportionate number of black men that fill these prisons. Look at black men get shot by the police or even harassed by the police. Policing started as slave catchers. Everybody knows that. So, generationally, that shit is just passed down from generation to generation. They always have cops go into black communities. We get the most harsh policing. It's more likely there's going to be a use of force issue involved. So it's like a low-grade civil war. They'll never want us here. I mean, who wants a bunch of ex-slaves, hanging around? And that's another thing. If there was a heaven, would there be slave owners and slaves in heaven?
Holding hands, petting tigers.
Did they repent? That's the important question.
Okay, but wait. How could they repent when they thought that they were... No. Here's the thing. When they died and slavery was legal they were backing it up with the Bible, how do they repent?
Right.
How do you repent for doing something
the last time I died...
Do you see what I'm saying?
I think that... Well, two things. I think it's funny you talked about camp. I'm Mexican, grew up in the hood. We couldn't afford a camp. There's no camp.
I was a camp counselor, so that's how I know about camp.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, for a camp for kids with heart disease.
You're lying.
I'm not.
Oh
my camp name was Mufasa.
Like in The Lion King?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, no, we were right. No, I'm from the hood. There is no camp. There's no camp. So I could see how people who go to camp, my son's gone to camp, but I could see how that's like a life-changing experience, and then the curriculum sucks and all that stuff. But I also feel like when I hear you talk, you sound very ethnocentric too. And I think that there's a thin line between ethnocentricity and racism. Mm-hmm. So do people often think like, oh, you're just about, I'm Mexican. Let's say you ran, right? There's a bunch of Mexicans in Palmdale. I'm not going to vote for you because you're just, you're ethnocentric.
Yeah, all you're thinking about is black people.
Right?
And it's
you
like,
motherfucker.
No. Right. No, I'm thinking about all of us in fairness and humans. If you're fucking human, I'm thinking about all of us. That's it. I can't go past that. I'm pro-human. That's where the satanic humanist comes in. Human is like making sure everyone is at least comfortable with food, with shelter.
With your necessities.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, I ain't talking about getting somebody a Tesla who can't afford one. I'm talking about the basic necessities of life.
I want to be on the list for the Tesla, though. I'm not gonna lie.
And if I win, all you motherfuckers get a Tesla.
Teslas and a trip to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
What about a taco truck for us? Yeah, you
There
guys
you
get
go.
tacos.
There you go.
Right. Vallarta Market shopping spree.
He's like, meet me at Cardenas.
Let's change gears here. You brought up Little Nas's video a little couple minutes ago. Very artistic video, by the way.
Extremely.
Have you seen it?
No.
Really?
I want to tell you
my
guys.
goodness.
I want to tell you guys something, which I should say before I don't watch a lot of TV on purpose.
Okay.
I don't watch it.
Well, it's not on TV. You got to go on YouTube.
I don't watch a lot of YouTube. If it's not something that I'm reading into, because I feel like there's so much shit, it gets like overwhelming.
Yeah.
So
A lot of people have that override. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
too much of this shit.
it was too much for a while. So like the last 4 months, I've really backed away from doing things like that. So I'm sorry, but I'll watch it today. What happened?
Okay.
Tell me.
Tell about the video.
Tell me about the
First
video.
of all.
Well-
Do you know who Lil Nas
Yeah, of
is?
course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, of course, his sexual orientation. He's a gay black man.
Horrible. Going to hell.
Yeah.
Obviously not brought up right. That's the problem.
Two steps away from hell just being a black man. Imagine being gay on top of that. Yeah. Anyways, my interpretation of his artistic liberty that he took was just demonstrating how hypocritical and judgmental religious people are. That's what I take away from it. I mean, it could be interpreted many different ways, but I think that's kind of the message he was trying to convey.
He made
to
a lot
his
of
audience.
He made a lot of straight religious people uncomfortable.
Oh, boy.
And he basically said, "You motherfuckers told me I was going to hell for my lifestyle.
Right.
So hey, here I am, twerking on Satan."
And then I'm gonna
That's
take Satan.
hilarious.
I'm gonna take
Which
Satan's
is what the video
horns.
is, literally.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
he snaps his neck and removes his horns and proclaims
Yeah,
himself.
he comes into hell on a fucking stripper pole wearing
Yeah.
fucking.
That's how I'd want to come
wearing
into
some
hell too.
wearing some speedos.
Yeah,
I'll get it. Okay.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was. Yeah, and
boy
the
shorts.
song is the song is still nice. It has a nice beat and you can dance to it.
you know,
like
and-
the old Dick Clark days. But yeah, I thank him for that, man.
How funny people
No.
are so upset by that, but didn't R. Kelly pee on someone in a video and it was like hilarious to everyone? And
But it
was
was a
okay?
male on a female, and it was no devil involved. So calm
Yeah.
the fuck down,
Here we
Ashe.
go.
Although
And it was $50 more because it was a golden shower. And no.
although when Madonna kissed Britney, that was female on female, and
But that's more acceptable than male on male.
yeah, because it's like
especially-
who don't want to see two lesbians
And male on Satan. Come on, bro.
Didn't she get a
Yeah,
lot
Mel.
of
Yeah,
heat?
Mel Osei takes it to the next level.
Didn't
Next
she get
level.
a lot of heat like in the 80s? She had that like a prayer video and she kissed a black guy.
Yeah.
And it was like a big
Well,
fucking
in the
deal.
70s, they shot Larry Flint for he's the first person to put a black man and a white woman on a magazine, and that's why they shot him.
Oh, is
Gave
that
him a
why?
That's
Gave him a
exactly why they
wheelchair.
shot him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
he
sucks.
lived the rest of his life in a wheelchair for that.
That sucks.
So that wasn't too far removed from the 80s. You know, I think we think that we've been so progressive, but no, we have not. Now, back to Lil Nas, he made a lot of people uncomfortable, and I you know, I'll be on my timeline. Plenty of people that have no opinion on a lot of shit, all of a sudden had an opinion like, the fuck is this shit? Like, just so angry at this dude.
Yeah.
And now, in his defense, this video has like over 30 million views.
Wow.
Which is
for him.
It had 30 million views within 3 days of him putting it out, right? And
Yeah, it's like record-breaking numbers.
record-breaking, just insane numbers, right? Now, also, this is a dude who, like I said, there's people who I know that have no skin in the game, that are just, probably some of the least informed motherfuckers on the planet, all of a sudden are like, fuck this guy. What a fucking, ew, what the fuck is this? Just, and I'm literally saying the words that I'm reading as I'm hearing them, like if I would hear them speaking them, just the disgust with this dude making
ridiculous.
this video. And then to promote the video, he had a company make 666 pairs of some Air Max. And
I did see something about this, and they have like horns or something, and Nike got all upset. I did see something about that.
Yeah.
So they have a pentagram, an upside down cross.
Those are super expensive. You can't find them.
No, they're done. There were 666 pairs. They sold out in less than a minute, and they sold for $1,018
or something like that.
Yes, which is a verse 10:18, which talks about Satan coming down from heaven like a lightning, or something like. Very smart, extremely.
Smart.
And so it's got that, the price that he put on them. Now not every, but I was listening to the radio station, and it was a Mexican American station, and the DJ was talking about it, and oh my God, have you guys seen these Satan shoes? And what is this world coming to? And I'm sitting there like, oh my, Satan shoes. Well, that's what they're called, the Satan shoes, right? And people were so like, I can't believe this is what our world is coming from. And Cardi B and WAP, and now Lil Nas with the Satan shoes, and this is the destruction of the fabric of our society, and this is, we're going to hell as a country, and this is what happens when you vote for Biden, and blah, blah, blah. Bro,
man.
It is extremely hateful what they're saying about this man. And they're like, dude, you're a big part of your fan base are kids, and how dare you? He's like, hey, man, I didn't sign up to raise your fucking kids. I mean, he didn't say that, but I'm paraphrasing.
But no one signed up to raise. You raise your own kids.
Correct.
Right.
You police what the hell they're watching, But and the shoes had blood, human blood in them.
One drop of human blood.
That's super fucking funny. If I saw that, I'd be like, I want a pair because it's hilarious.
Right.
But then I come from a different. Somebody yesterday came to my house and was telling me that there's this website where you could buy dirt from Dracula's original house. And I was like, that sounds interesting, but is it from his house? Like, we were talking about that. He was like, it's cool. It's packaged, and they're sending it on all these, like, if you hashtag vampire, the hashtags will pull stuff up. And to me, everything like that is very like, oh, that's so funny. Like, kids collect Funko Pops, right? The Funkos, right? The little, like, little things.
Yeah.
My son likes them, but my son likes the ones that are all like the horror movies. So like Jack Torrance, Mike Myers, and so he has them in his
Freddy.
room. Yeah, he has them in his room, and his friend came in and was like, you can't do that because my mom, in church, and my son's like, I have a Ouija board too. Are you going to want to play video games or not? Like,
homie,
what the fuck are we doing
there's
here?
kids that can't watch Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's Satan.
Yeah.
And then what happens? I'm going to fast forward this for you. And then that same kid is the one who comes to me or someone else later and says, this guy told me to get naked and he could cure me because you're making them ignorant and you're making them scared.
Right.
And that same ignorance and fear that we've been bred into, right? Be scared. Don't say anything. Mm-hmm. Don't talk up. Don't do, even to the point where my husband and I will have conversations and he'll be like, oh my God, you're so argumentative about everything. And I'm like, why do I have to believe it? Fuck these people. No, I'm not going to do that.
And don't question God.
But
don't you dare.
But you're scared, right? Like you're scared. Oh, this is, if I say this is going to happen. If I do this is going to happen. I think the shoes are a great idea. And the price means that mostly white people bought them. Let's be straight up.
Well, I would have purchased a pair.
I would have totally bought a pair. I think it's hilarious.
So here's the thing. Nike, because there was so much backlash on this, people were like, we got to cancel Nike. Now he hired a separate company who does customs, right? This didn't come from Nike. So this company does customs, and he hired them, and they did these 666 limited release, right? But then Nike, because of the backlash that then dude, listen, Nike fucking has kids working in their goddamn factories. You know, it's not like they give a fuck. Let's be honest. They then, because there was so much backlash on this,
they came out with a Jesus shoe.
They actually sued the company that made the
Get the
shoe.
fuck outta
And
here.
now it gets better. Now people are going after Nike saying, wait a minute, how come you didn't say shit when they made the Jesus shoe? Because they did make a Jesus shoe
Oh.
before.
They did. They
And
did.
so,
They
but
did?
they did not sue with the Jesus. So now how are you taking sides here, Nike? You fuck. Now the hypocrisy behind that again is phenomenal, because it's not like Nike is a humanitarian company,
Right.
that gives a fuck about anything. Now,
Child labor
curious-
laws.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear your take on this whole fucking situation, because
Well, we know you wanted a pair like me. You would have
Yeah,
bought
I
a
wanted
pair.
a pair, but the way it works in America, if you purchase something, a transfer of currency or anything of monetary consideration, then it's yours. You own it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to customize it, I mean, I'm a 70s guy, so you would buy a stock car and you would customize it. Ford or Chrysler didn't come, hey, you're fucking up our vehicles. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So they just customize some shoes, and because of everyone's mental conditioning, they're afraid, fear, all that bullshit. It's for one, Nike won't win. So I think this is just,
To do
the
something,
back
to
the
show they're doing
backlash to
something.
show that, hey, fuck you, I'm still in the gang. It's the same bullshit. So, same thing like we were discussing before, the politicians and religion. It's like, nobody, don't go against religion. Don't go against the grain. Don't swim against the fucking current. What are you doing? But there's people, and I think it's going to be an awakening soon. There are more and more people who are catching on to all this bullshit.
So
I think so, too.
Here at Brujo 101, we're going to take some Crocs
Get
and
outta
we're going to
here.
make Satan Crocs. We're going to put a pentagram on. We're going to get red ones. We're going to put a pentagram on them, an upside down cross, and I will prick my finger and there will be some dried
Oh, thank
blood.
God it's you, because I...
Well, no, we need your period
And
blood.
lips. Unless it's
Yeah, we're not trying to launch a boat here.
Right, what are we doing here? I don't want to do anything. What are we doing? Okay, well, first of all, that's really expensive. And second of all, I do know a couple airbrushers who could make you those pentagram
We're
Crocs.
going to do little wiki
There
on
you
the
go.
Crocs, and we're going to do a limited release with the Satan Crocs.
Yeah. I'll
Now we're going to have people asking us, where are
Yeah.
the Satan Crocs?
Hey, we're going to make
I'll take a
Where are the
15.
There you go. There you go.
2 pair.
Winter, summer, put them out.
There you go.
I think that's really, well, one, I'm going to start watching TV again, I guess. And two, I think that's really interesting. Like, I think he got tired and was like, fuck it, let's go. If
Yeah.
it's going to be, I'm going to hell, let me go to hell, full-fledged, let's go.
Yeah, and people need to know the truth. I think he exposed a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of people who are supposed to be great Christians.
out there doing
that
cocaine.
They're
and
like,
drinking. And
human.
Well,
no more
have you
human
guys
than I am.
have you guys seen the soundbite of Courtney Love at the MTV Awards years back? And they ask her, "Do you have anything to say?" And she's like, "If Harvey Weinstein invites you to his room by yourself,
yeah.
don't go." And when she said that, everybody was like, "Oh, this bitch is fucking crazy." And now, like, they'll even post it on TikTok. They're like, "Remember that one time Courtney was right?" Like, she was like, "Don't go to his room." And then they have like Kathy Griffin too. She's like, they caught this person, but they're, talking about, like, I think she was talking about, oh my God, I forgot his name, the Jello guy.
Bill Cosby.
Cosby.
Thank you. She was talking about him. And it's like all these people who try to say something, you're fucking crazy. You're the crazy one, but then hindsight is
2020.
2020.
And let me tell you, the Jello guy is also Fat Albert.
He is, and I used to like that show. I'm
Just
not
to
gonna
let you
lie.
know.
Why
I
don't you
that
can't
show.
like it
I
anymore?
don't. Well, no, I can't like it because it's not on.
Okay.
It's not on anymore.
I'm sure it's somewhere.
And look,
And
there
I
was
think
other
putting him-
people. There
I
was
think
other
putting him
people
in
on
jail
that
is
show.
ridiculous.
Somebody brought up a great point the other day. I was listening to this interview, and this lady's like, "Listen, I love the Cosby Show, and all of a sudden, because of one bad actor's actions, everybody on that show has to suffer. That we'll never see that show again, even though there was a talented ensemble associated with the show. They're punished because of one bad actor's
Well,
actions.
it's like what I said.
Yeah,
Like, okay,
that's-
he's in jail, whatever he did. The man's older than, shit. And now my tax dollars are going to fucking keep him in that. Like, the whole system is fucked up.
And you'd be surprised what your tax dollars fund.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
It never goes to where it needs to go. And our idea that we're superior and can lock you up for the rest of your life because you're a bad human and support you while you're in there, that's broken. You know, just like people who are like, are you for the death penalty? Are you against it? Oh, don't ask me. But I think there's a better way to do things, and it's definitely not getting
There's definitely
done.
a more humane way to do things, you know, considering we're all humans, no matter what you think as far as sexual orientation, religion and you know, you like polyester, cotton, what the fuck ever. Everybody's human and should be treated as such. And the shit that this country has done under religion, you know, even when our founding fathers, and I can say that and mean that because Thomas Jefferson had a whole lot of black kids, so he was one of our founding fathers too. But they wrote all that bullshit in the We the People and the Constitution as if we didn't exist and they didn't own us.
So
you know,
did Abraham Lincoln. He had a bunch of...
He was...
Well, there was that thing with 23andMe. People started to try to get links to
Right.
presidents, and
Right.
23andMe canceled their request. And they would be like, I want to see if I'm related. You know, people from the South usually, right? And they would be like, I know my grandma used to say we were related to so-and-so. I want you to put... And they canceled them because they were like, fuck no, you're not going to talk about how all these presidents raped all these slaves, and it's rape.
Was
When
it
you don't want to be
rape?
with somebody, it's rape.
I think they wanted to fuck the president. Oh shit.
I'm gonna be honest. Maybe one did.
At least
maybe
there had
one,
to be one.
Maybe one did.
Consensual one.
Maybe one did.
Maybe one. No, it was
But being
horrible.
a person of color, I would not want to be with Abraham Lincoln.
The crazy part is that the crazy part about
Honest
that whole
Abe.
thing. The crazy part about that whole, well, they say that there's rumors that he was gay. By the way, I mean he used to sleep in the same bed.
I
with
guess
his
we'll
best
never
friend.
find out now.
You
huh?
know,
Another saying.
and
I mean, just ideas.
he suffered a lot of melancholy, which is another word for depression, right?
He did.
And he, in a lot of his memoirs, he talks about missing his best friend. You know, this dude that they shared the same bed for a long time when they were working together. And things. So again, there's never proven, but there's a lot of speculation that he could have been gay, and that's why he was so depressed most of his life.
Well, he was the one who lost kids,
His
Yeah.
kid
and
passed
whose
away.
wife believed in spirit photography.
Oh.
Very much
Yeah.
so, would go to spirit photographers, and there's a very famous picture where he's standing behind her in spirit.
Yeah. Did you see that CNN special?
No, I didn't, but I read a book on it.
it was
I read a
great.
book on spirit photography, and there's a whole chapter on his wife and how like fucking gun ho. She would finance these people, shoot for ectoplasm pictures, and it was crazy, interesting.
It's a fact that these founding fathers
Here we go with the facts.
raped
Oh, okay.
raped
Yeah.
the slave women. That's just not, you can't
Right.
argue that. When you have that much power over people.
Yeah, well,
people take-
ownership
Correct.
has its privileges.
Correct.
Oh my God.
And
It's like a
look,
Benz.
hey, let's listen. You have men in positions of power exploiting their position today.
There's people
how
getting
much
raped
more?
today.
How much more was it happening back then?
Yeah.
And so there was no Me Too back then. You know, for the slave
Mm-hmm.
women. Are you kidding me? And but the overall the story that was being told. You go back and watch Birth of a Nation when you can see that the narrative was these sex-crazed black men raping women. All these crazy slaves are raping the women. But again, it's projecting. It's like, let me just
But
distract
that
you from
narrative
what's
has
going
like
on.
trickled down, like all throughout history. There was the Cuban Superman who they would pay to watch him have sex in Cuba because he had like a huge penis, and all these politicians would go pay for him to watch him to have sex. He ended up being gay, and he would have sex with all these women, and then he would supposedly have sex with the politicians who would come from here.
Yeah. John, that sounds like John Holmes.
Yeah.
It was,
Go ahead.
but it was like a Cuban. He's called the Cuban Superman, right? And then there's a saying in Cuba, and they'll tell you, "Enséñame la abuela," show me your grandma. So I'll be this color, but then they're like, "What does your grandma look like?" And before I used to be like, oh, that's because they're like a little racist and they want to know what their kids will look like or something. And then somebody told me on my last trip, he was like, no, honey, it's referring to the rape of everybody who came to this country. Yeah. So you might be really white and you're out there being racist in Cuba. He's like, show me your grandma. Because for sure your grandma wasn't white.
Right.
And if she was, there's a black person behind her. And if they weren't because of the conquest, so they'll tell you like, enséñame la abuela, because since they got here, everybody's been taking advantage of women. That's it. I'm going to run for office. I'm done.
Okay. I'll be a campaign
Thank
manager.
you.
Know you're going to win. You got Satan as
There
your
you
campaign
go, right? Satan, bloodletting, Martin.
That's
There you
right.
go. We're ready. Chikis.
I gotta say,
it's time to start measuring the curtains.
I gotta say
Get out of my office.
That we've talked about a ton of stuff today. We do got to wrap it up. But I just be open-minded. If you're listening to this and you stuck to the whole thing and you didn't get scared the minute that you heard Satan, the minute that you heard atheist, I challenge you to take a dive and learn history, learn the conquest, learn how the history of how your faith became your faith. A lot of people it was handed down to them from their parents. And let's be honest, the shit that my parents taught me was garbage. A lot of what my parents taught me was horrible information. When I think about how just in my early 20s, I was still thinking that washing dishes was for women.
Oh, wow.
Which is horrible.
Yeah.
It's a horrible thing. I'm ashamed to admit it. But again, this isn't something that I was born with, and again, a lot of the information that we got was handed down, and a lot of it is flawed. And I think to just blindly believe without doing some proper research it's a detriment to yourself, to your life, and to your well-being. Take a look at Hail Satan. I can't stress that enough. It's a phenomenal documentary. It is just very eye-opening. It's not what to hear Hail Satan, you think that, they're sacrificing to the devil and to this. There is the people that are part of this movement aren't quote unquote devil worshipers in the Hollywood sense of that phrase. Again, Hollywood is responsible for how we view a lot of this stuff. When you see all the nunsploitation movies of the 70s and 60s, I mean, it's great fucking titty content, but that dude. You've never seen a nunsploitation movie?
I don't think. Does like Rosemary's Baby count? No.
The
Devil and Mrs. Jones.
Oh, dude, there was.
I thought that was a porn.
Who was that? Well, they were basically like porn. It was like porn.
Right.
It was literally like porn. But yeah, check out nunsploitation on YouTube. You'll go down a rabbit hole that you'll be, what the fuck
You're not
is
gonna talk
this?
to me till Friday. I'm gonna be like, what? Back on YouTube.
You're gonna stop watching TV again.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino, the character of Salma Hayek on From Dusk Till Dawn, is based on one of those old movies, and I forget the name of that movie.
Very vamped up, very sexy.
Correct. Her name was the name of a movie. I forget the name, but anyway, I'll look it up and we'll talk
Watch
about
the
it.
documentary.
But yeah, check it out.
And read more.
Steve, thank you so much for joining us and for
this was a good time.
This
was a good time, and I have another documentary for everybody. Contradiction the movie. Very good documentary.
Where can we watch
that? Is it out now?
It's I think it's on one of the platforms. It still may be on Netflix, but yeah, it's
The Contradiction.
Contradiction the movie. It just questions with all of our African American faith. Approximately 90% of us believe in some kind of God or deity, and it just questions what are we getting in return for our blind faith to the white man's God. It just asks questions, and it's hard for some people to watch if they're really religious, but if they have an open mind, they can actually learn something.
The afterlife is what everybody's, a lot of people live their life here preparing for this unknown afterlife, and they believe that that's eternity. It doesn't matter what happens here. You're dead longer than you're alive. What happens here is preparation for eternity. And where is your soul going to spend eternity? In heaven, petting tigers with your grandparents and your uncles, or in hell, where there will be screaming and gnashing of teeth in the fiery pits of hell. Where will you spend eternity?
They have beer there?
It's all warm. It's all warm.
It's all warm, bro.
It's all warm.
Yeah.
It's all German
It's
beer.
all warm beer. It's all warm.
I have to get a Frigidaire down there.
Again,
Get buried with it.
thank you so much for joining us, dude. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
And
Glad
anytime
to
you
be
want to
here.
come back, I'd love to have
It
you
was
back.
awesome. Thank you.
Beautiful.
And you've got some shows that are going to be coming up out in Palmdale area.
Palmdale Transplant Brewing Company.
And-
Gonna have a political town hall comedy show.
Oh, beautiful. We'll
That sounds
definitely
interesting.
definitely
Come up
be
and
out there to
knock
check
out a
it
set for me.
I would love to. And again, Thanya, thanks again for
I can't do
another.
a set. I could do like a witchcraft thing. No
Okay.
problem.
Okay, we got you. we got nothing against witches.
Thank you guys so much for
Thank
tuning
you.
in to Brujo 101. Hit us with a rate and review and a comment, and share us with your friends who don't get scared with the devil.
Oh, Lord. I'm like, oh, Lord.
Hell Satan.